Hi, and welcome back to the Dr. Ramsey Show. I have a guest back. He was on our season last season, and his link will be in this video below. You'll see that you can watch last year's season as well. And what I was so moved by his work, he has a business called Living Life on Purpose. His name is James Madison. Right after that show, I started working with him. Today, he's going to interview me about what I learned. So James, you take it away from here.
Thank you, Dr. Ramsey. No, it's good to be sitting on this side because so often I'm on the other side of the chairs with you for the last 10 years.
That's right. That's true.
You're the one asking the question, so I get to ask back to you. This is what we call a full circle moment.
It truly is. Right? It truly is.
Because I had come for my annual visit and I was telling you more about what I was doing. And then I went home and I told you the story. I was even considering whether I should keep doing what I'm doing or get a job. And I just kind of left it to God. And I said, if you want me to keep doing this, you'll give me a sign. I took a nap and I woke up and I had a text message
from me.
And it said, would you consider taking me on as a client? We had never discussed it, never talked about it. We came and filmed that Friday. And I told you that story. You said, you know what? It never even occurred to me. It just something popped up and I sent it. So thank you for being obedient to giving me the answer. And I can tell you that my business has grown 3x since we talked.
I love that.
So that pivotal moment kind of set up where I am today.
Beautiful.
So now I get to give back to you.
Beautiful.
Okay, so let's start at the start. When we first started working, we started working together right around the end of June.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what was going on in your life before we started. Describe what was going on, kind of your mind, your heart, your body, everything you can think of that was happening then.
Well, just the name of your business, Living Life on Purpose. I wasn't doing that. Mm-hmm. I was living life by default.
Okay.
And I knew this. I knew this in my head, but I didn't know how to get into my body, into my heart. And so, when Sue passed away in 2015, I became the manager, which I'm not good at. I became, running the household, which I'm not good at. I was still the physician, but I was piling all these responsibilities and I was just running around like this, like a head without a body.
Right.
And I was aware of it, but I wasn't aware of how to shift that, if I even had the time to do it. And then I realized it wasn't a time, it was what I did with my time.
Yes.
Exactly. I learned so much. It was like I was remembering things I practiced with Sue, because we were very enlightened beings together. I was a very enlightened person until we met. And then when she passed, I became this shell, like a barrel. And it was a survival thing, and I just was done with it. And I believe it was with you, I looked up the definition of survival one day just to kind of orient myself to my word. And it was basically existing in spite of a trauma. And I didn't want to exist in spite of anything. And I realized I've got a lot of work to do. Absolutely. And so you and I, we started working 1 week at a time on Zoom.
That's right. So before we get into that, tell that existing, kind of what energy does that bring up for you, that existing energy?
I want to say fear, but I think it was more than that.
Okay.
Overwhelm. For sure.
Okay.
No, not really a lot of purpose.
Okay.
I have great purpose with my patients. I love working with my patients, but that's kind of where it ended for me.
Okay.
I knew there was so much more because there always was. And now that my partner wasn't here, it was like, okay, it's different, but it was so different I didn't even recognize myself.
Right.
I was just busy all the time, forcing things instead of allowing things. And doing that is the wrong thing. I mean, I attracted so many of the wrong people to me. And I was just in this depletion because of the people I was attracting just kept taking advantage of me. And finally, I noticed the pattern. And I'm like, it's about me.
I'm the common denominator, right?
Yeah. And I just attracted people who wanted to take from me.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
Yeah, that was a huge awareness and acceptance that you had to. In order to grow, you have to become aware and then accept.
Yes.
I've created this reality.
Once I'm aware of something, it's easy for me to accept it. But until I'm aware, I don't know. I'm just not in that place of even knowing how to accept something I don't know is present.
Absolutely. There's a quote I love that says, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our life and we will call it fate.
Wow.
It is what it is. That's just the way, right? So that awakening and that awareness allows us to not just accept it, but then to change.
And so you make me realize I was lazy in my thinking also.
Right. That all that subconscious, survival mode is about letting the subconscious just take over and be on autopilot and not really enjoying, just stuff it down, right?
Yeah.
This was kind of an awakening when we met.
Very much so. Oh my God, every week it was like, oh yeah.
I think I told you this, but I don't work with clients on Friday, but I did with you because I enjoyed the enlightenment sitting next to you, watching you kind of just.
That means the world to me.
Yeah, I kind of miss that now because I don't have that on Friday morning.
I do too. I do too.
So what else was going on? So that's where you were. What about professionally in your business? Like where else? Because whatever energy we're living in creates our reality. So what else was going around you 360?
Well, I was attracting the wrong people. So that was in a depleted place. I wasn't recognizing my wealth like I am now. I didn't feel like my relationships were very deep because I just wanted to get through, get to bed, get up, get to bed, get up, you know. And so I was surface living. I know that now. I didn't know it at the time. And one of the biggest things that I negated in my life, I just abandoned, boom, as soon as she passed away, was my connection to God. And I didn't realize that until you and I worked together. And it was such a big part of our life.
That's right.
Everything worked seamlessly. And then when it stopped working seamlessly, I really forgot how to make it work again.
Yeah. I think that was one of the most amazing things. Each time I would ask you, when was the time you remember when you did this? They came up. So it was like, remember your future. You already had it. So you just have to remember it for the future because you'd already experienced it, but had just lost it, right? Forgot it.
Right. And I remember sharing with you early memories because you would ask me about early memories. And the very first memory, and it wasn't my consciousness, but what I'm told is how I was born. I came out breech, which means the butt first.
That's right.
And I just remember, because my mom will still say, you know, it was so hard on me. She said, giving birth, it was so hard on me. And the doctors really only cared about you. They didn't care about me. They thought you were going to be paralyzed, but nothing was about me. Like she felt, I don't know what the word is, but she had anger towards me from the moment I came out. Right. And then when I got sunburned at a very young age, like 3, my mom blamed me for being outside without telling her. When I got my first menstrual cycle, I was told this is the worst time in my life that it could be happening. I didn't even know, like, here I am helping women with their menses all the time. And I love that.
Right.
And I tell my moms to celebrate their daughter's womanhood.
That's right.
And mine was like, I didn't even know. I'm in the bathroom at a campground and I have all this blood and I don't know why I wasn't prepared. I just wasn't.
Right.
As like a 12-year-old woman. And I came out looking for my mom and I'm like, something's going on. And she asked me what, and I told her, she goes, this is the worst time for this to be happening. I'm like, what's happening? So she put this belt on me and she told me I couldn't go swimming in the river. I just jumped in anyway. I mean, I was unfortunately that kid.
Yes.
But I didn't understand it. I still didn't understand it. It took me a while. And now to me, it's a big celebration for women to have.
Absolutely. Look at that full circle. How that thing you overcame became the thing that you do.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked a lot about the fact that it's not what happens to us, but it's the meaning we associate it to it about ourselves.
Right.
What did it mean about you because those things happened?
The thing I got, there were 2 things, was I'm not important and I'm not noticed. It's like, your fault. I'm like, I'm so young. But it also gave me such strength. I remember feeling as a young girl so much strength and so much, confidence. And I believe living in confidence is living in faith. But I didn't put them together.
Right.
It's like, as I'm doing my work, I realized like I had so much freedom. Nothing stopped me ever until Sue passed. And then I was like moving backwards in life.
That's right. You're right, though. That belief created who you are. Right. And it served you until it doesn't serve you anymore. And the thing that got you here won't get you where you're going. Right. We said that.
That's right.
And that's what you recognize is you honor the fact that it brought you to do all the things you've done, but you also recognize the lid that it puts on you because the belief is what creates our reality. Right. And so
I was living a very limited belief after she passed.
Yeah.
And, you know, I say this and I don't know what you say, but I believe the success I have is because of Sue in my life. Like her love, her belief, her motivation. Like she wouldn't let me stop. And then when she went away, it's just I kept doing this the way I am. And now I'm starting to grow in a different direction.
Yeah. No, she was an angel that came along to support what was already in you and really draw it out of you because it had to be in there. Right. And she just, it worked. Right. It easily came out with her. You know? And so when you think about like, as we started to work together, like what were some of the key insights that you gained as we started to kind of peel back these layers?
Something as simple as journaling. I stopped. Like journaling is so huge. And I love what you said because I'm like, I can't read my handwriting. So what? Just get it out. And so I just write it more and more and more. And I never look back at my journals. I never did in the past. I don't know why I had to write neat, but I just kind of get it out. And sometimes, I haven't done this since my ceremony, which we'll talk about last, is I would journal with my eyes on my computer. I'd close my eyes and just write because I was so used to this not this. So I start off this way. Then as I close my computer, it's more this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that computer, I realize, is my security. Like if a patient needs something, I have my computer, I can take care of them. And that's becoming less and less of what I want to do anymore, is be on my computer.
And we identified that some overwhelm comes from the computer, right? So where it was this thing that was a light, it also had a dark side.
Yeah,
right?
very much. That's true for any addiction, right?
Any addiction. A dark side.
Addicted to work, I guess it's not terrible, but I'm breaking up with my work in a way, which
That's
I'll be
right.
specific about.
And I love what you said about journaling. Journaling, a lot of people resist it because they think it's a diary. And I got to write all this stuff and I don't have it. But it's nothing more than reflecting, writing, and releasing. It's just releasing that stuff. Most
And I
people
feel
have
that.
too much stuff in their head, which is why they're overwhelmed. When you write it, I never, to your point, go back and read it. But it's a working out process.
And I love it. It's very comforting. Yeah. Especially when I'm alone. I love it so much.
Yeah. What else did you learn? What else?
I completely abandoned a very important relationship. Probably the most important relationship I should have as a human is my connection to God. And I wasn't even conscious about it. That was what was so crazy is,
Right.
When Sue and I connected with God, we used the word spirit. I think we could use any word: divine, spirit, guardian angel, God. I'll say Sue, to me, whatever is bigger than me. Right. And when you forget that something bigger than you exists on this earth, we get in trouble. We really do. And so that's been a presence now since I've been working with you. And I want to thank you for that, because that gave me so much lightness and freedom that I was missing. The freedom part, I'm feeling again.
And how important is freedom in your life?
It's probably the most important thing.
Exactly.
To me.
And you said again, I forgot freedom, and it's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's survival.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's right. Put your head down.
Yeah. Because to me, faith is here in my heart.
Yes.
And again, I was like living like this. And so I feel like more of me is present all the time now.
I think we were talking recently, like you would text me when you were in something, and I said, to get out of your head, get into your body. Go for a walk, do a push-up, do a jumping jack, because as soon as you raise the heart rate, breathe.
It's so good.
All of a sudden it releases, and whatever you were holding on to.
I often forget, right? So I get my heart rate up quickly because I'm not very heart conditioned. And so I might be doing some push-ups, doing some sit-ups, doing some of the V's. And all of a sudden I'm like, why am I breathless? But then I didn't remember what I was even thinking about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So these tools are very powerful. They're so simple. They're free. They take no time. And it's blessed my life.
Absolutely. What else? Tell me one more thing that you got.
I got to be more discerning. Like I'm not a very I don't have very much discernment, because I was just like letting people in my life one after the next without discerning. And when you do that, you bring in the wrong energy. As a result of working with you, I have the best staff I've had since Sue passed. I have a lot of support. I feel respected again. And really grateful. Like I've attracted finally, and it took this work to do that, to get the right people in my life that actually care about me. They just don't want to take.
That's right. What's so important that we talked about the fact that like energy attracts like energy.
Energy.
Right?
So, yes.
We know that. So when we resonate at low frequency catabolic energy, right? We attract that in our life. The wheel of life, we can go around it and see where it shows up, right? In our life. And many times people say, I don't like the reality that I'm creating, so I'm going to create a new plan. I'm going to find a new strategy. When all they really need to do is change the frequency.
Yes.
That then attracts the things that are at the level. Because here's the thing, we can't outperform the level of our belief system. So if we're believing and performing here, it doesn't matter what we want. If this is where we are, this is what we attract.
And when you say that, you make me think of energy like being light energy versus dense energy, right?
Yeah.
And I was more dense.
Yeah.
But then I felt the lightness coming.
Exactly.
And it's here.
It's here. And as soon as you release from that dense energy and allowed yourself to kind of be in that light things started showing up, right? What light things have been showing up in your life?
So specifically, people.
Okay.
Who bring experiences. And right now I have these two people that have come to help me specifically with business.
Yeah.
And I call them my angels. They're not asking me for anything. And if it turns into something long-term, obviously it's going to be different. But all they want to do is help me. They see my purity. They see my success. They want to be like, because, I lost my manager, Sue, who ran everything. I have a manager now who's in training, but they know how to run it. I don't know how to run a business. And so they've come and gracefully come in and said, we just want to help you. And I trust them. My boyfriend's met them and my staff has met them, and it's very safe. And I think it's going to stay that way. I have a nephew who wants to start a business, a different type of business that will be a side thing if I do it. Like, opportunities are coming that I wasn't attracting before, but I couldn't have. Even if I thought I could,
You weren't ready for them. That's right. Yeah. So what I hear you saying is that as you moved into that more light space, you attracted more possibilities. Lightness. It's the lightness that attracts, right? It's not, and it's, I talk about more flow and less hustle.
Right. Hold on one second. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. I'm just going to do that because hopefully I don't know how to turn it off. I'm sorry about that.
But you get more into a flow with that light. It attracts, things come in. It's more effortless. It's easy.
Yeah.
Right. To do things versus the grinding and hustling. And it's really because of the change of light, not because of a change of strategy or plan or tactics or systems. And that's the message for people. I don't like what I'm doing. Let me find the next quick, fast diet. Let me find the next thing. No, what energy am I living in?
And it has to do with our identity, right? So I was identifying with survival without, just like, that's what I did. Instead of identifying as a person who can have a vision again, vision and see versus right here in front of me. And when I get away from my computer, I see much more of what the vision really is.
Exactly. Whatever people say after I am is what their identity is. So when people identify with their vices, I am an alcoholic, I am a cancer survivor, I am those things.
I am light worker.
I am a light worker now. like declare it in the affirmative positive version today.
Yes.
And then those things show up in your
life,
Right.
Right. And it absolutely, it's magical, just like you said.
Yeah. And here's what I would tell you. What you're experiencing is only a Costco Saturday sample of all that's out there for you. Like, it's the tip of the iceberg. The things you're seeing now are just a small part of what's in store.
And sometimes when things come, I get a little nauseous because it's happening so fast. And then I just remember, this is supposed to be happening. It's all good.
That's right. And the place to stay in is you're the vessel to allow those things to happen. It flows through you. So when you get that, whenever you get that, it's because you're thinking it's about you and it's not about us.
I love that.
So release that and go, I'm just the vessel to be used for all the gifts, the talents, the treasures, to do the things I was created. Purpose. Well, do you remember your purpose statement or roughly what it was?
I know it had a lot to do with, I like to care for patients and not to see the other part of the business, which is my business side. Yes. I don't love that, but I love seeing my patients. I love not having to make excuses for stuff I want to do for myself. And then I forget the last part. There's one more sentence. But it's just about loving what I do, being grateful for what I can do every day, and we're grateful for those angels that come and help me help others. That's right. It's a beautiful awakening in my heart.
I remember something to the effect of like helping people to live this the best vital life that they can, something around that.
Yeah.
And what are your superpowers that allow you to do that? What are the things that you're the best at?
I care a lot. I listen well, and I deliver well. I think patients really are clear with what I have to say. Yeah. It might be a lot for them, but everything's written down. So I kind of make it so that people can understand exactly what's to happen.
Absolutely.
After they meet me.
Yeah. And I can say, having sat on this side of the couch for 10 years with you, with my wife and I, like, you see people, you hear people, and you understand them. And to be seen, heard, and understood is one of the greatest compliments of love that anybody can receive.
Oh,
so it wasn't about the forms or the computer. It's like you sit crisscross applesauce in that chair and we would have conversations, and it was just very like you see into people and they felt seen and heard, and that allows them to be vulnerable, and that's why you see people keep coming back.
Sure.
They fly in from other places to come because there aren't many places in the world where people feel, even in their own personal relationships, seen, heard, and understood. It's powerful.
So even though I was in survival, I was still serving others.
You were still, but so what happens when you're pouring out and you're not filling up? What happens?
I get depleted and sick.
You were operating in a deficit.
Yeah.
Now you're operating in overflow. Right? And so more comes in, more goes out, which means more's coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
Better balance. Well, what were you the most surprised about in our time together?
I was so surprised at how much I forgot. Like, it was such a ritual for me.
Yeah.
Then it went away. Like when Sue went into the hospital, that was the last time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really surprised at how easy it is to forget.
Right.
And I wasn't being obedient. And that when James says obedient, he means obedient to God. Like,
Right.
we're all here for a reason. I've always felt my reason.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm reconnecting to that again.
Yeah.
Love and light.
That's right. Light. It's the light that light attracts. What are you most proud of?
You know, first of all, I would say I'm proud I didn't give up, because I could have done that easily.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even come to my mind until I did this work. And I'm just like, oh, I'm so grateful I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful I had the skill set that was strong enough to get me through the last 8 years. And now I'm grateful to be on the other side and seeing more richness for me in the office and my children. Like, I really see that and feel that.
Absolutely. As you sit here now, what's the one word that describes how you kind of see the future? Like, what's the one guiding thing as you think about it today?
There's so many, but the first one that came when you asked was trust.
Trust. Yeah. How
Just
important
trust.
is that to you?
That's God. I can't do anything without God, right? So it feels so good to be in that again.
Yeah.
I've had lack of trust. That's why I was attracting that
Sure.
over and over again. And I'm so glad I'm not attracting it anymore. Thank you.
When you think of trust, or that like feel into trust, what does it feel like? What emotion comes up for you? When you
Joy.
Joy. Yeah, we talked a lot about joy.
And effortlessness.
Yeah.
And freedom. Like, those are like my theme.
Joy, effortless, and freedom. That's good.
Yeah.
Freedom. What's one thing I haven't asked that you want to make sure everybody knows?
I wanted to share, like, if I didn't work with you, I wouldn't have probably done this ceremony that I want to share. So I worked with you for 6 months, once a week. I opened and started like realizing so many things. And then there's a patient that's, we don't really do anything outside of work. So she's really not a friend, but I really love seeing her. And she knows my journey. She's on a journey similar. And she gave me this name of this person. I called this person. We set up a ceremony. I did this huge ceremony. And I wouldn't have been ready for it if it wasn't for my work with you.
Right.
And it was a really high dose mushroom thing. And my youngest son was worried. He goes, Mom, your brain can't handle that. Because I've never taken mushrooms, right? So I told her that because I want to be safe in everything I do. And she left this really angelic message. And it was like, I can refer you to somebody who does less. Mine is only to heal traumas. Like, if you have a trauma to heal, you come to me. If you don't, I'll refer you. And so I have traumas to heal. We all do.
We
I
all
think.
do. That's right.
And so that morning I read all these negative trips. So I got there first. I'm like, have you ever had a negative trip? They said, no, never. And I understood later why. It was such a loving, beautiful energy. There was no way you could have a negative trip. But I saw God's presence. I felt my body working out all of this ego stuff, because they say that your ego has to fall away to heal. My ego is about the physical body. And I felt that so strongly. I was like, I can't get out of my physical body. And I only started to right at the end. So I have a lot more work to do.
Sure.
But it's brought me into my body and out of my head. When I started, I got this red light in my head, and I knew it was get out of your head. Another woman in the experience said she felt the redness in her heart. I'm like, oh, I wish that was me next time. So I got it, though.
Yeah.
And of course, I was out last week because I had COVID last week, and God wanted me home and down, and still, I just surrendered.
Yeah.
And my staff took care of it, and I'm really grateful for that.
That's right.
So it was such a beautiful lead up to, and I feel like I'm on this journey that will never end. It's going to be continuous the rest of my life.
Absolutely. And I hear in that process, trust had to be there.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, you had to totally trust, and now you can look towards creating the vision for the future, because you want to because what you've done all the work, and you don't want to ever regress back, so you have to anchor it in the vision.
Yes.
So now the step is to create the compelling vision that you see, so you're always heading in that direction to apply those things. And when it gets tough, you know that's where you're going, and here's the why I'm doing it. So that's kind of the next evolution for you.
Yes.
We went through pain. We went through purpose, and the next part is to anchor in possibilities, which is vision.
Yes.
Right. So now, as you, I just created an exercise I'll send to you to create the compelling vision.
Okay.
I know you have a vision board.
Yes.
You showed me. So being anchored to that will really, really help you to stay grounded. Somebody out there needs to hear something that you've said today. Like whenever we do these and whenever I speak, I don't think about what it is. I just speak my truth like you've done. And there's somebody out there that needs. So look into the camera and just give some advice to somebody just based on your experience, because it'll be for someone specifically.
Yeah. And another thing you've gifted me is I'm going to different churches now, so I'm really exploring that. So if anyone out there has a trauma, anyone out there who doesn't have a vision for your life, anyone who might be lost, who wants to reconnect, I would highly recommend that you give James a call, maybe schedule some time. You don't do 6 months like I did. You could do longer, you could do shorter, but it's really good for your soul and unwinds any truths. Like we have so many stories, the truths surface, and then we can be living in our life on purpose. So I highly encourage you. James, if you would tell them your information so they can reach you directly.
Yeah, James Madison. My website is onpurpose-life.com, and my email is james@onpurpose-life.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a gift you are.
This is the gift that keeps on giving right over the
It
last
really
day,
is.
Because my marriage wouldn't still be together if it wasn't for you
Oh,
and the
my
hormones with
goodness.
my wife. So
I hear that a lot.
This is a reciprocal relationship for sure.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
James.
Thank you
And
for
thank you
having
so
me.
much for listening. I appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.